Okay, so we have here, this is the upper level and lower level. So supposed to make sure that, because the circuits they're inside, right? So supposed to make sure they are, if this is the upper level of the electrolytes, the lower level, supposed to make sure that the circuits are just submerged, like they're inside the electrolyte. We get okay, then also go and check for the hydraulic brake.
How do you check it?
For the hydraulic brake, it also has a second. Hydraulic steering brake. Hydraulic steering fluid. It says it's enclosed. It's enclosed in a reservoir with labeling maximum and minimum. So it's supposed to ensure that the fluid level is above the minimum mark but not overfilled. Okay, so unfortunately we are not able to see that the hydraulic steering fluid because it's a bit buried inside underneath. So these are all covered, the engines and what I've covered it under. So I'm going to the brake fluid.
See, you were testing about it already.
What inspired you to become an engineer?
Well, there were a lot of factors. One is my major interest since childhood. I've been admiring electronics. I'm an electrical engineer. I've been admiring electronics, and well, they're unique in that, well, the things that you can do when you know more about electricity, like building gadgets, well, wiring houses. Those are like my childhood interests. I was able to build from there, and as I grew up, I got to understand that there's actually more to it than just wires and having just electricity in simple terms. You can actually do something with the electricity you have. For example, the cell phones, you can see the phones, what they're capable of doing. You can call someone, you can chat, you can watch videos. So I started thinking hard, like what's the technology behind it? And that inspired me to be more creative, innovative, and advance into the engineering sector.
What are some of the challenges that you have found in the engineering area?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is the lack of, let's say, practical application of what you learn. It's more of the theory. The theory is substantial, and we need to put it into application, because theory without application, to me, it's kind of it's a shortcoming, because you may have your information in the head, but if you're not able to reproduce it, then it's kind of like a burden. It's just a burden.
I believe you have state-of-the-art laboratories here in Ndejje.
Yes, we do.
Don't you think that you have enough practicals?
We do have enough practicals, but the amount of the engagement the students engage in this practice, the students tend to like shy away from these practices. They say hard because of the theory. The theory can discourage you from the practice, because when you have the theory being so burdensome, the practice becomes a little bit confusing also.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you think there is anything that you have not talked about that you want to tell us?
I think we have summarized everything from my perspective, but I guess we have touched almost all the sectors.
My name is Ndejje Mariam.
Yes, Mariam. There are not so many lady engineers.
Yes,
Tell us, what inspired you to become an engineer?
I was inspired to become an engineer because of my dad. My dad is a civil engineer. Yeah, at first they thought engineering was basically for the males, but then we wanted the competition in the industry. So I also decided to come up and become an engineer. I wanted to become a doctor at first, but then engineering involves different people. Yet if it's medicine, you can kill a person at once. So for engineering, we work hand in hand. We work as a group, so work becomes simpler. And engineering is a very nice course. So I was inspired by my dad who goes up countries, associates with the whites, they deal in different projects. So I also want to start up different projects. I go to those countries, we start up different projects. Yeah, that is it with engineering.
Which year are you?
Year 1, semester 2.
Year 1, semester 2. What have you found so interesting in your fieldwork?
In my field work, everything is interesting if I'm to say. Be it automotive, be it setting out, concrete works, everything is interesting in that you're going to learn different things from different fields. Not basically civil because you're dealing in buildings, highways or what, but you also get to learn about electricity, how you connect buildings, cars, how you're going to work about cars, different situations. So everything is interesting generally.
Sure. What are some of the challenges that you have found as a lady in engineering?
As a lady in engineering, at first, when I just started coming up for it, people were like, ladies in engineering, the work is hectic, things are for only men, things are heavy, but things are for the determined, things are for the focused, things are for those who put in all they have. So engineering, basically, it's not hard, though it's kind of challenging when people start talking about ladies being weak, being what, but there are no big challenges.
What is your expectation at the end of it all?
At the end of it all, I expect the best because since we've been doing practicals, I expect more practicals. I expect us to put up more things on our own, maybe start up projects in this very university. We construct different places. We start up different things generally.
What is your future plan? Do you want to put up a workshop for yourself? Do you want to work for somebody?
I don't. Obviously, you first have to work for somebody, but I don't want to be a job seeker. I want to be a job creator generally. Yes.
My name is Moses. I am instructor of automotive module, and I work here in Ndejje University as a lab technician. So now I am heading this automotive module. I'm handling the students in this module.
According to my observation, I've seen you have electrical engineers, you have mechanical engineers, you have those who are doing electrical, all combined.
Yes.
What exactly do you want to achieve here? What are you trying to?
That is in the first year. I'm handling the first year. When in the first year they do all the courses, then they specialize when they do in second year. So they do all. As an engineer, right in the field. When somebody said is an engineer, sometimes they may not specify whether you have done electrical, mechanical. So here in the first year, we give them general knowledge about all engineering aspects. So you can be a mechanical engineer and then maybe you need to know about electrical, you need to know about civil, you need to know about whichever, setting out, simple, at least. Then when you go to specialization, that becomes a bit. Yeah. So, and some people in the field may not differentiate whether you are civil, whether you are mechanical, they say the engineer, come and do that, come and do that. And secondly, you don't know where the world takes a person. You can do mechanical engineering and you end up in electrical field. So that's why we say, let's emphasize to do the general engineering, then the special can be.
Yes. Do you think you have achieved what you are supposed to achieve for these young men here?
Not really achieved what I wanted to achieve, but of course we give them the basics. Reason being that the facilities we have might not be are not enough. Then another thing we have is the number we handle, because a module should be having about 5 students, 5 to 10 students. And that's when you can handle students in practical. But now you can see I'm handling the number of about 50. Then the time allocation might not lead me to achieve what exactly they want. So that the time I get it is not enough because they don't do enough practice. So, but generally I can say that I may achieve over 70%.
What would be your suggestion?
One of the suggestions is that one is to increase the training material because sometimes then you training tools. Then you increase the number of days for training because now we have 3 days. If it can be increased up to say 10 per module, so that the students get the better practice. Then 3 is also involve the students to have industrial tour, which we don't do, so that they can see what they are studying to be seen in the real life. So basically that is increased time, facilities, tools and machineries. And also reduce the number, maybe, but reducing the number also might not be possible.
I would believe those are some of the challenges you find.
Yeah, those are the
And do you think there is anything else that you have not talked about? Would you like to tell us?
Nothing, those are the challenges actually, as I said, we ignore it. And there is nothing big I can add.
Maybe to talk about the field work outings.
Yeah,
they used to have them. What happened?
Used to have
what
them,
exactly
but,
happened?
We used to have them. One, when there was COVID, they stopped that. But now the COVID is over. Two, sometimes funds, they said maybe no money, no what, and you end up not doing those fields. But otherwise, we shall push on and see whether we can have as many fields as possible because if the students are attached to the industry, then we can gain more than rate what they study here and then what is outside.
Sure.
Sometimes when they go to outside, before somebody has studied and he gets maybe 90, but when you show him practically, he doesn't get what you have asked. So, so we shall push the management.
I'm Kasumba Andrew, the acting dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Survey of Ndejje University.
Yes, Mr. Dean. We talked earlier, but what I've found out that people face a challenge in your faculty. They face a challenge of facilities.
Yes.
Practicals, they say the facilities they have are not really enough because of the numbers.
Yes.
What do you have to say about that?
First of all, there is this perception that a degree student should not be practical, and because of that culture, and because we are just migrating from an institution, we've been handling practicals for internship like research at Nakawa. Nakawa, that is JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency. We are just bringing them home, and we are just at the start because this is the second year that we are handling research. So we've started with the simple things we have right now. We have 2 vehicles for training automotive. We have 3 welding machines. We have a fully fledged civil lab. We have some parts of automotives. So we're just building capacity locally. But even in the little we are doing, despite the challenges, we've been able to train students and we have some products to show. And as we interacted with them, we'll be able to build a knowledge base from which we shall pick future trainers for the same practicals.
Sure.
Still, what we are praying for is to be at the standard of older and bigger universities like Makerere and Kyambogo, and we are using the practical session to show the university that where they should put their investment, especially when it comes to machinery for training students.
Sure.
Otherwise, from the little given so far, we appreciate them, but there's so much to do.
I've heard about 3-4 answers, but none of it tonight. I'm trying to try. However, let me now give the exact thing. Why is it advisable to hold such a people component, especially in the circuits? Okay. You may not know the what the random access. This is the question. Okay. You know what the what's the electrostatic?
Which year?
Year 1.
Is this your first year? How do they go? Recess? Trains?
Recess training.
Tell tell us, there are not so many ladies who do engineering. What inspired you to come for engineering?
Doing engineering myself, it was a dream from childhood, and I personally wanted to pursue a degree in telecommunications engineering. And since electrical itself is a branch of telecommunications engineering, this is like doing what I've always wanted to do. And also by the mere fact that there are very few ladies doing engineering. For example, talk of maybe one pilot engineer, electrical pilot engineer in aviation. That is already enough inspiration from Uganda to do engineering.
What are some of the challenges that you have found in this little time that you have been engaged with engineering?
Yes, some of the challenges, of course, engineering itself requires energy. It requires energy and a strong physique. And of course, as a girl child, that is why you find you're less competent compared to boy children. But otherwise, so far so good.
What are some of the most interesting scenarios that you have found in engineering since you joined?
Yes, some of the most interesting scenarios, myself doing electrical engineering, it is interesting how you yourself you can connect a switch or a socket and you see at least the bulb lighting. It is really interesting. You get your spirit level, you put a plumber, and you see a wall coming to rise. And of course, personally, that is enough interest to gain in the field, and especially for the future.
Sure. What are your expectations at the end of it all?
My expectations, let's say in a year's time, I expect to at least inspire the rest of the girl children that are behind there and maybe are not having enough inspiration in this field. Yes, they should also know that we as girl children can be able to make it and can be strongholds of the engineering industry, especially in Uganda. Yes.
Do you think there is something else that you would like to tell us that we have not talked about here?
What I can say is to encourage everyone to go to their dreams, no matter what comes across. Things may not be always straight, but with persistence and inspiration, nothing can push you down to what you always want to achieve, especially for fields like engineering. Women can do it.
My name is Semakula Ibisabi Nzika.
Of course.
I'm doing a diploma in civil engineering and in year 1.
As a civil engineer, what do you have to tell us about engineering, especially in civil?
The civil engineering bit, it's my passion as me, and it has motivated me to do many things. As you can see, we have a foundation of builders deck and all that. So the dream has not just come as per now. It has not just come today. It is way back. That's why I've taken this step to pursue engineering. Engineering is the only fundamental thing in this world that a country can base on, that anything developing can be based on. As well as to our country, there's nothing else but the infrastructure. If an engineer sets the infrastructure, each and everything is going to be settled. Now,
according to my personal view, it's this dream you did start yesterday.
Yeah.
Who inspired you to like civil engineering, as you say?
Well, it's not only an inspiration. We've grown up in houses, yes. It is just a matter of thinking of where you sleep. Who built that house? In this world, we can't cease having an engineer. That is an inspiration that gets me very driven each and every moment that I think of this engineering. Yes, I can't talk about the family bit. Our background is about the engineering sector. Though, as I have gotten a passion and I have the feeling for it to build my country.
What are some of the challenges that you found in this little time you've been pursuing engineering?
This little time we've been here, it has been a bit challenging, though interesting. And for the challenges I've faced, I personally, the few material on site, we can talk about the weather, because there are those days that have been hectic to us and the weather has not been nice to us and friendly to us.
What do you mean by weather?
I'm talking about rainfall, I'm talking about the heavy sunshine and all that.
What do you think? Is there anything that we have not talked about that you'd like to tell us?
I'm so inspired to talk to each and everyone today because the engineering sector needs many of us. There is no bit in this country that we can stand on without engineering. Engineering is everything, is the foundation to development.
Very fast.
What's that you're doing?
I'm washing. I'm cleaning. Jumping.
It's a real man that can handle it. Come baby, come handle it. Come leave.
Inside.
You stand. Stand. Hold the handles. Handles. Create the other side. Slowly. Yeah, it's okay. Always when you tap. It's like this. Behind. Okay, behind, but it will just fall. Stand up.
It's okay.
It's okay, that's enough, but they want to preserve, okay? Wait, hello, you are going to preserve.
But you are hiding behind the machine.
I say,
Use one eye, the machine, then would look more beautiful if you had an element.
Another
The other time the element covered. The other time? Not a time.
But like you were posing, you are not reading taking any reading.
This one, okay, let me.
They want you to read, like taking a
Long press.
Yeah.
Long press.
take a real good like where the lecturer is.
Don't smile. Sister now. So, vamos, I
want us protecting the returns.
My name is Musime Matthew. I'm doing bachelor's in survey and geomatics engineering, and I'm in year 1.
When I look at the people doing geomatics, I love the way they are dressed. What inspired you to join geomatics?
Actually, when I was young, I used to see people constructing roads, and I used to see people dressing up like this in these reflectors. So I was really inspired to become one, to join them. Actually, that's why I'm doing this course.
You have been in this research almost 3 weeks now. 4 weeks, almost a month.
Yes.
Tell us your experience.
My experience has been great. I've been able to learn different skills in surveying. I've been able to attain skills on how to be able to partition land, how to get coordinates of the point on the bits of land. I've been able to learn how to produce different parcels of land in the computer-aided design, using the computer-aided design actually. And it's really been awesome. Our lecturers have been friendly, they've been able to teach us most of the things that we need out there in the field to go and practice.
What are some of the challenges that you found in this research?
Some of the challenges, we had a limited number of instruments, for example the theodolites and the levels, so everyone wasn't able to get a clear attachment to a level 1 instrument. And then we also had the sunshine. We were in the season of the sun. Okay, it's good for us, but also it continued, scorching us and making us get used to the field. And then also another problem is sometimes the weather changes, sometimes the rain could come, and then our instruments are not okay, they are not well versed in rain, so they cannot really get readings in rain, so we cannot. Then another issue we had, sometimes we had prolonged surveys, and then that could actually even take us like 8 hours, and we end up missing lunch and we'd be tired, so that really affected us.
What is the most interesting scenario that you found in the field for this time you have been there?
The most interesting scenario, one of them was actually grid leveling. How actually you go to the field and be able to come up with how you're going to cut and how you're going to level where a building is going to be. So bring out that entire map of that place really was interesting. And also extrapolating a topograph map from a parcel of land. For example, going on to collect the different items on a piece of land and being able to insert it in a computer-aided design, then bring up a topographic map. That was really awesome.
Is there anything else that we've not talked about that you would like to tell us?
Not so. I really want to say thank you to the university for giving us this opportunity to go and practice the skills that we really need outside there. And we thank our dear lecturers who are able to show up and come and be able to share knowledge with us.
By names of Nakakande Christo Valeria, year 1, doing geomatics and survey.
There are not so many people doing geomatics that are ladies. What inspired you to come for this course?
I think now that we have, like, the nation is right now, it's changing. I feel like what men can do, we can also do it. So it's not a must that a boy should do surveying. Even as the ladies, we can manage. So I was inspired because it's a good experience.
It is in almost a month now that you are in the field.
Yes.
Tell us your experience about this course.
This course, we have learnt a lot. Like, we always had theory, but then we are, like, this month we have learned how to put the theory into practice. Yeah, we have learned how to use different equipments, and probably, like, me, or like most of us, we can go out there and do something, like, in the field.
Yeah. What has been most challenging in the field during this time that you have been there?
The most challenging part was the sun, because it was really a sunny season, and it was the sun. Then at some point the equipment were, like, not enough, and our number is kind of big, but the equipment's a few, and I think that's it.
So you had to keep waiting for other groups?
Yeah, we had to keep, like, waiting for other groups, or some equipments were kind of, like, faulty, but then we tried to fix them up so that we move on and we work within the time period we were given.
Yeah, what is the most interesting time that you got in the field?
The most interesting time was the interaction part with, like, our colleagues, with my colleagues, because, like, most of us would just sit in class and get out, because this is campus. You just sit, a lecture, and then you get out. But for the field, we have learned, like, how to interact with each other. Yeah, that was the most interesting part. And then also how to use these new things, because we used to just see them, and then, like, for this equipment we'd, like, think it's a camera and all that, but when you get to it, like, you do a lot with it. Yeah.
Like, before you joined the engineering, geomatics in particular, what were your fears that when I join, how will this be, how will that be? What were your general fears before you joined this course?
Okay, my general fears were, like, I would be, like, shunned down as a girl, but then I had to stand up and be like, no, I can also do it. Then the next thing was, like, the sun, because now girls would be like, no, we don't want the sun and all that. But then after some time you get used to it, because this is what you want, and this is, like, the occupation you've always wanted. Yeah.
Mami, otudde? Otudde? Kamera ngekupiikinga ng'otudde.
I'm Nansamba Judith. I'm in year 1, semester 2, and I'm doing a bachelor's degree in civil engineering.
As a civil engineer, what have you learned from this research?
I've learned very many things. First of all, I'm going to begin with this, what we are doing now. Here we are trying to get the various ways of how we can set the foundation of a building. And we have 2 methods we can use so far. We can use the 4-3-5 method, and we can also use the square method, where I use the builder's square to lay the foundation. And the one we are having here, we use the builder's square. We put it on the ground, we draw lines, On the upper part, where you draw lines, you put a nail, get a string, tie to make the L format like we have done. You lay the bricks, and this is the English bond or the headers bond method we are using.
Yes.
Yeah, you lay the bricks like how they have put them. You lay them like this, like this, like this, following the L format. Then you be mixing your sand and cement. And for sand, you mix 1 bag of cement and then 4 wheelbarrows of sand. You get the mixture. Then you'll be filling in the gaps. When you're laying the second part or the second level of the bricks, you put them in the joints. So the first bricks are laid like this, in this format. Then the other bricks will stand in the joints. As you're laying, you'll be mixing until you reach the upper part of the foundation.
That is good. It is now a month down the road of recess.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges that you have found in the field?
To be honest, some of the challenges, you might be just getting used to how you're using the equipment. You might be not knowing how to use the level, how to place the level, how to place the pendulum bob at the vertical sides of the walls to level the bricks. And another thing, for the electrical lab, you can be ignorant on how to join the wires, maybe how to connect stuff. And then for pavers, you can be not aware of how to mix the mixtures, the stone dust, what amount of sand you want, the cement. So those are some of the challenges. And then some people are lazy, so they kind of disturb you. So
they dodge around?
Yeah. And another thing, the weather conditions sometimes affect us as we are maybe working, it rains. So those are kind of the challenges.
Construction is viewed as a job for men. What inspired you to join such a course?
What inspired me as, I'm small, short, so people tend to despise you, so I look for something that I can do and prove to people that I can do the very best out of me. So that's why I chose engineering. And another thing, I had passion for it, because you can't do something when you don't have its passion. So I had passion for engineering right from senior 1 when I was introduced to physics and all that. Yes.
What is the most interesting scenario that you came across during the field work?
The most interesting part of it to me, it has been the pavers, how to make pavers. I've been seeing people trying to do pavers and I'm like, oh wow, do they do it? So when I was introduced to such a module, I was so eager to learn it because it's fun. You do hands-on. Yeah, it is really fun, and even this setting out, it is also fun. You get to know, because we are dealing with structures. So the pavers help us when we are doing the structures, even the setting out, like the fundamental part of the building. So I've enjoyed it because I didn't know how to do it. I was just seeing people making structures, but I didn't know how to make a structure or how they begin a structure. So I've learned a lot from it.
What inspiration can you give to girl children out there that are still in lower classes, in high school? What word do you have to inspire?
What I can say is, when you set a goal, make sure you work very hard to fulfill a goal. And even if you find challenges, because people can discourage you, you are a girl, you see me, I'm short, I'm small, so people will be like, you can't manage engineering, you're short, you're small. So you have to be encouraging yourself to be like, I can make it. If men can do it, why can't I do it? And another thing, you always have to do something that is extremely extraordinary from what other people can think you can do. So what I can say, they should read hard, like how I read hard to reach where I am right now, because things are not easy, but it's all about striving hard and working hard putting in all your efforts to achieve the very best and to make our parents proud of us.
By name of Sabiman Adam, being bachelor's in civil engineering, year 1 semester.
Oh, that is good. As a student doing construction, this is your first research.
Yes.
Tell us about your experience in the field.
It has been some kind of hectic, but it's interesting because we are bringing the theoretical part of our course applied to the practical part and interacting with the equipment, the shovels, the hose. It's the first experience, so it has been really interesting. Yes, and we are getting more skills, so we can even go out in the holidays and apply the skills and get some monetary value from it.
Sure.
Yes.
Before you joined the university for this course, what was your expectation as a person who wants to pursue civil engineering?
Well, I expected that it would be more practical than this, not seasonal. It would be more practical, like on a daily. But well, it's also okay because you can do practicals over and over again. So I'm getting what I expected for now.
What are some of the challenges that you found in the field?
The field is actually slightly different from the theoretical part of it. You have piles of theory, but when you come to the practical part of it, it's confined in one thing. So the practical world is a little bit different from the theoretical world.
So have you tried to relate the two?
Yes, of course, it's relatable. You can get some hints from the theoretical part, you add it in the practical world, and it's more interesting that the construction part is not something you're going to wait for years to work on it. No, you can even apply this practical you have now into this holiday and you get some money.
What are some of the good things that you found in this course?
Yes, actually it's a marketable course for now, as I get from my mentors and what. And it's liked, it's a course of value, and it's a course of practical work. You get yourself into the practical world very fast.
Do you think there is anything that you'd like to tell us? We haven't talked about it.
Yes, well, I would like to encourage everybody to pursue this course. It's a good course. Some people find it hectic, like the theoretical part of it. They think that you have to do much work, but it's somehow easier than they think, and it's really paying, if I can say, from what I've heard and from what I've done.
Tell us about your experience as a civil engineer.
So far I've done much things. I've gone into the civil lab, welding, setting out as we are here now. We have been the concrete works, where we made the pavers, networking, and I've gained a lot of experience so that now I can business the paver. And I'm looking forward to making a business when I go home and make the pavers.
Sure.
Yes.
Do you think you have seen some of your expectations before you started this, that you had before you started this course?
Yes, because I was expecting to go out of this research period when I know how to raise something like a foundation, whereby now I'm able to do these things, these corners, the squares, to at least got that expectation. And then I was also hoping to learn how to make pavers, and indeed that's a big expectation of learning how to make pavers because it can be economical. Yeah.
Do you think that before you come back for year 2, you'll have made some small money in pavers?
The another period of that holiday is going to be little, but at least I'm going to utilize it. I see how I can get capital, negotiate with my dad, and see how we can start that money, to get that money out of pavers.
Sure. Do you think there is something else that you'd like to tell us that we haven't talked about here?
Generally, I can just talk about how this thing is more helpful and more people have to join in this engineering sector, because engineering is the design of the world. The roads are everywhere, it is engineering. Roads in terms of construction, buildings, airplanes, everywhere it is engineering. So most children, the youth who are still there, they can engage in engineering, and then we design this universe of ours.
What do you say about this saying that people doing science are more important than people doing arts?
That one, according to me, it is not true.
Sure.
It is not true because we also need arts people.
Yes.
Because if you have made a crime and you have to go to a court, it's not a scientist who is going to judge you. You need an artist who will be a lawyer. So even though we say sciences might be hard, but we also need the arts because also they are not easy. Let's have both, though we need some balance at least.
What do you have in your view about the salaries for the difference in salaries for science and the arts teachers?
That is a very big question, but according to me, the government has also to favor the arts because I personally am a son of teachers. My mom is an arts teacher and then my dad is a science teacher. So if there is that big difference, so the income in the family due to the father will be higher, and then somewhere in some families it will show like some parents will say that the mother is not contributing much. They remove like they say they may not be contributing much, so you don't have to talk, which is not favorable. Let the government also balance the arts salary, yes, at least to a favorable price, even if it is not much higher, but also to raise it a bit.